What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the videos. Before I start, one thing, maybe two things. Let me just see, we just hit 900, so we are at 901. Thank you all so much for that. Not quite when we wanted to hit it, but I'll take it, and I appreciate it, and I love it, and I love all of you in a friendly sort of way. Anyway, today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today, there was a post about the Mk8.5. So, I'm going to be sitting here sharing my thoughts with you about it, changes that we know of, and my thoughts on the appearance overall. I'll be popping photos up so you guys can see them and see what exactly I am looking at. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up the article of the Mk8.5, or if we want to just call it the Mk8 facelift, because that's exactly what it is. I can guarantee you that drivetrain is exactly the same, just like when they did the 7.5, the facelift on the Mk7. This is going to be pretty much identical to how they did that. Let's start with the front end, because I both love it and hate it. So I'm putting a picture up just so you guys can see. I'm going to talk while you guys are viewing the photo, and that way you can know exactly what I'm looking at. So the Mk8.5, at least I believe that this is going to be the Clubsport /R front end. I love the bumper. I actually really like what they did with it. I do not like the headlights. The headlights, in my opinion, are too slim. I think they slimmed them down enough from the Mk7 generation to the Mk8, and I don't think that they need to go anymore. I think that that should have been where they stayed. Keep the front bumper that they're now putting on and kind of mesh the two together. But overall, it looks fairly much the same. The bumper is the biggest difference, and I just like how much angrier it looks. It looks kind of like it's got fangs. I do like the piano black in it, except for the fact that it's going to get beat the crap out of really fast. That's one thing I like about our GTIs now, is the matte black kind of holds up quite a bit better. So on that same picture, let's see if I can find a different one of the side. Probably not, because there's pretty limited pictures on it. I will zoom in though for you guys to see. So if we zoom in right on that front corner, we can obviously see that there's still plastic, I don't know what you want to call it. It's just like a plastic fender lip, a wheel protector. I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, I believe that that is for the European market. In order for them to run a little bit wider tire, they have to have those. But I could be wrong. That's just what I've been told and what I've heard. All right, so we're going to scoot over. Actually, this is a really good picture of like an angled view of it. It's really nice that they put 50 years of golf on the hood. That's pretty cool. I do like this kind of spy wrap that they have going on. I think it's pretty neat. Let's jump into the interior. I'm just going off of pictures I've got so far, things I have seen. So we come into the interior. We can see the design of the steering wheel is exactly the same, except we've got buttons again. They're no longer the haptic touch buttons that quote-unquote plagued this past generation. I really don't think they're that big of a deal. I haven't had much of an issue with them personally, but I know a lot of people hate them. So for the vast majority of you, if you have been holding out for buttons or you wanted the buttons back, it looks like they are giving that to you. So thank you, Volkswagen, for that. Another thing that we're going to notice with this new interior that is pretty much exactly the same interior, except for these little differences, is the massive tablet that we have in the middle of the dash. So I don't know quite how big that is. I'm sure I could find specs. So I will absolutely link this article that I found, it's from Road and Track. It's titled, Volkswagen is putting ChatGPT in our cars, in its cars. But it's got a lot of the pictures that I'm actually showing you of the car in it. And so that's where a lot of this is coming from. That being said, let's see. Can we find anything specific to the 8.5 tablet? It's basically a laptop. I mean, that's what it is. It's a flip-up laptop that you can never shut and will be in your view while you're driving. So, for that sense, I don't like it. They also kept the touch features on the head unit itself for the aircon and heating and all of that. So you still interface through the tablet. And that's something that other car manufacturers are doing and have been doing for quite a few years now. But the haptic feed buttons, I think, or the buttonless buttons, are what people are still probably going to be a little bit upset about. Yes, they took them away from the steering wheel, but now they're still present as far as having to reach over and slide across your display, your dash, to adjust those things. Another photo I would like to share with you guys is a GTI and a presumed Clubsport or Golf R next to each other. It looks pretty good. Like, their overall presence is about the same. I really think that the change in the front bumper, that little extra bit of an angle back into the bumper, is quite a bit more aggressive than what we have currently. So for that, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see where we now step as far as the aftermarket community goes, because these cars have been out for 3 years now, and there is a lot of support for them. But I think we'll see, now that people are starting to pay the cars off and they're more readily available, I think we will see even more of a growth in the aftermarket community itself than we have seen before. Next thing I want to touch on is actually the rear end of the car. So we can see, at least kind of from the outline in the stickers and this kind of camouflage that they got going on, that they have went away from the inner and outer portions of the taillights being different sizes. Now it just kind of seems like it's one solid bar across from the liftgate, the hatchback, whatever you want to call it, to the bumper itself. And I don't particularly love that. I don't know if it'll grow on me, but I guess we'll see. Along with that, they are now, I guess I have to take this with a grain of salt, because this is presumed the Golf R / Clubsport model. The rear diffuser is gloss black. I think the Golf R actually was gloss black as well. But something that sways me from thinking it is the Golf R model is actually the side skirts themselves. They're matte black, and they don't have the fins in the rear just like the Golf R's do. So this may be the Clubsport model after all. As far as GTI bumpers go, this is what we are looking at. So it's more or less the same as what we have now, except for it almost has the current generation R look to it, at least from what's released for us. And I think that that is good. And I also think that maybe we should have gotten something a little bit more drastic and change, but I guess it's something. More or less, it looks exactly the same as current generation, minus the slimmer headlights. They almost have more of an Audi feel to them, along with the grille is exactly the same. It looks like it's going to be the matte black kind of honeycomb look that we have. Just kidding. There's nothing else to cover on that. It's exactly the same. Overall, what do I think? I think it is a fairly nice refresh for a mid-life cycle model, and I do wish they didn't slim down the headlights, but I guess I will see when we actually see them in person if I like it or not. They do have a more Audi, like, what is it, the B9.5 model years. As far as the headlights go, the separation of the lights themselves, I'll put a picture up here so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I do love the front bumper. I do like what they did with the bumper. I think that was a good move, at least as far as the Golf Rs and Club Sports are concerned. The regular GTIs, I wish they would have given it a little bit more aggression and changed just a little bit more on those, but those are more or less their base entry hot hatch. So I guess it makes sense for them not to want to pull all the stops out for a facelift on their base performance hatch, if that's what you want to call it. I don't love the taillights if they are how the pictures are showcasing them to be. I don't like the slim bar design, but more or less the rear end is exactly the same. I don't think we'll see a change in transmission. That is one thing I forgot to mention. The Mark 7 to 7.5, the DSGs went from a 6-speed to a 7-speed. I think drivetrain, the Mark 8s are going to remain more or less the exact same as they have been, and that's not a bad thing. It makes it easier for tuning companies to actually have tunes available for the cars before they come out. Yes, I know there's warranties and this, that, and the other, whatever you want to come up with. Some people like to tune their cars, some people don't. Perfectly fine. Everybody has their preferences and difference of opinion. But it does make it easier for software companies and tuning companies to have that available when they already know what they're working with. So drivetrain, exactly the same. Everything here is going to be cosmetic except for the interior with the physical buttons and the tablet we now have attached to the dash, which I hope nobody breaks because I feel like that'd be really expensive and a pain in the butt to change. And it's kind of an eyesore. It kind of blocks your field of view, your point of view. It blocks your field of view, potentially. Obviously, we haven't driven them yet, but I foresee that being an issue. I feel like it's a little bit too tall. It's peeking up over the dash. You can't put it away like how you can put Audi ones away. So that is my take on the foreseen Mark 8.5. If you guys have enjoyed the video, let me know. If you haven't, also let me know. Comment, dislike the video if you really didn't like it. Not gonna hurt my feelings, doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Are you excited for the next generation? Are you excited to see what comes out for these cars here in the future? I know that I am. With that, and without further ado, thank you all for watching. Thank you for 900. If you're interested in the little article that I found, I will put it in the description below. And I will catch you next time. Peace.